Hey, Happy New Year again. We are in the second devoted of 2024, but we're in the same book that we were in for several weeks in 2023. So we're going to continue. We got a lot to cover. We have three big ideas, big thoughts in three verses in Hebrews 10. And we're going to look at verses 23, 24, and 25. And so we're going to just be prepared. Three devoteds, all right? We want you to be devoted to, and devoted to. Three big topics in three verses. Here we go. Chapter 10, Hebrews 10 again, 23. Let us hold tightly, somebody say hold tightly, without wavering, to the hope that we affirm, for God can be trusted to keep his promises. So we got to hold on, and God keeps his promises. So it's a little bit of both, right? It's not just simply sitting back and chillaxing and saying, hey, we don't have to do a whole lot. No, we have to hold tightly without wavering to the hope that we affirm. So there's kind of three actions here. We're holding tightly to a promise of God. We're not wavering, so we're really working on our faith, and we're affirming something. We're declaring something, all right? But God can be trusted to keep his promises. So ultimately, it's on God keeping his promises. And the promise here, remember the context. The context is that we can come in boldly before God. We can come into his presence. We can live 2024 and every other year. We can live bold in the presence of God. We don't have to be scared about God coming before God. We don't have to be fearful that he's holding something against us. So we can hold tight to his promises. But so the devoted here is to be devoted to holding. Somebody say be devoted to holding. Remember the old Kenny Rogers song? You got to know when to fold them. You got to know when to hold them, right? There's no folding here, right? That song's in your head, isn't it? It's in my head already. So you got to know when to hold them, and you got to know that holding is our job. So hold fast. So be devoted to holding. Second verse of the day, 24. Let us think of ways to motivate one another to acts of love and good works. Verse 24, let us think of ways to motivate one another to acts of love and good works. I just want to look at this one word, motivate. In the Greek, it actually means to spur one another on, to spur. You know what a spur is, right? It's on a cowboy boot, right? And it digs into the side of a horse to make it go giddy up. Okay, so we're supposed to help each other giddy up for the kingdom. We're supposed to help each other giddy up with motivation to do for acts of love and good works. So be devoted to giddy upping. Be devoted to spurring. That word motivating, but it's spurring. Be devoted to allow someone else to spur you on, but be devoted to be the spur that someone needs. There might be a lot of folk who are just kind of down and out and kind of losing hope and really not able to kind of press on. They want to, but they can't. Well, guess what? They might need a spur, and you might be that spur. We're not talking about a mean spur or an angry spur. We're talking about a loving, gentle, but motivating spur. Amen? Last verse right here in verse 24. And let us not neglect our meeting together. Yes, that means meeting in church. I've heard so many things about that verse that just make me kind of like, what? Like what it means is this. No, what it means is you would meet together in worship. It means worshiping together in a local setting. So that's what it means. So let us not neglect our meeting together as some people do, but encourage one another. Some say encourage. Encourage one another, especially now that the day of his return is drawing near. I mentioned this, I think it was last Sunday, as I was preaching. I think I laid out a date. It was the first Sunday of 2024. I told you, I kind of gave you an idea of when Jesus was going to come back. I'll do it again. After today, it's one day closer. That's all we know. It's one day closer. So the day is drawing near. What should we be doing while the days are drawing near? While the day of his return is drawing near, we should be encouraging one another. So be devoted to encourage one another. Amen? Be encouraged, right? To be devoted to these three things. Be devoted to holding. Be devoted to spurring. And be devoted to encouraging. Make sure that you're devoted to those three things. And I think God can use that in his kingdom and for his people. Be blessed. Be devoted. In Jesus' name.